Hi, I'm Emily Wilson. I'm the author of the book Seraphynx, and I'm filming this video because I had some people write in and ask me some questions about the book, so I wanted to go ahead and answer those today. And we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. The first question that I have is from my sister Kaylee. She's probably the biggest fan of my writing, and so I wanted to get to her question first. It is, how did the idea for the book come about? And to answer that question, you first need to understand a little bit about me. I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or as they call us, Mormons. So yeah, I'm a Mormon. And I actually got this idea by going to what's called Institute one night. Institute is just where a bunch of us get together and we study the scriptures and we learn and we just try to better ourselves that way. So I went to Institute one night, and the lesson part of it was kind of a lesson in astrology, and oddly enough, astrology is kind of what was the first influence of the book. We were learning a lot about the different types of suns and planets and the light that they brought, referring it to the light of Christ. And one of the facts that I learned about astrology that night was that when a star bursts, it can destroy in its wake, it can destroy other planets and stars, but it also can create things. And I thought a lot about how a phoenix is like that. It can destroy and then it can be rebirthed and create things. And so that's where the idea of Seraphynx kind of came together that way. So that, I hope, answers that question. The idea came from there, and then I just kind of went home and studied the scriptures some more and just kind of let my imagination run loose at that point. So, one question down. This kind of goes along with it. What are the influences for the book and the characters in the book? Influences, the first one that comes to mind is Scotland. My father was born and raised in Scotland, immigrated to America when he was 16, and because of that I decided at one point while I was at Brigham Young University at BYU that I would take a study abroad to Scotland, and I was able to see what I strongly believe is God's country. It's beautiful, and learn about their culture. And so the setting of the book is largely influenced off of Scotland, and you'll see a lot of Scottish names and places and bits about the culture in there. Not like they're going to go around and eat haggis and toddies all day, but there's definitely a lot of Scottish influence there thanks to my genealogy and my family. So that's one big influence. Another is, of course, the idea originated in a religious or spiritual place, and the whole premise is based on this idea of the war in heaven and how certain people chose to follow the Son of God and others decided to follow Lucifer, the main story told in the book of Revelation. And so the idea of angels fighting demons or protecting people from demons and learning about who these demons are and why they chose the way they did is a big influence for the book. And then the other two biggest influences, I am a high school teacher. I teach English mostly to freshmen this year. And so the idea of it being at a school is because that's pretty much my environment every single day. I'm dealing with those students and the high school setting. So, and teaching them about the type of literature that influenced me is a lot of why there's a lot of that in the book. And then the last one is tied directly into that, all the books that I read. I've always been a reader, been a bookworm my whole life. I spent most of my time growing up in a small town either playing sports or reading a book. And so a lot of the types of books that influenced my reading are sci-fi, fantasy, along the lines of Harry Potter, all the comic book heroes that you'll see in the Avengers, and tied directly in with that, I guess it's just stories all together. A lot of the video games that I've grown up playing, Halo, Dragon Age, Final Fantasy, Call of Duty, all those action / sci-fi / story riddled type video games, along with books, were a big influence. As far as the characters go, they aren't really based on any one person that I can pick out in my mind. They're just a lot of different people in my life that have kind of had an influence on me, but none that I can pick specifically. There were actually another couple questions about characters that we'll get to in a minute. The next question, what kind of history and research went into this book? Two types of history and research. A lot of it was, of course, the history of Scotland, and then the other was the history or research about demons and angels and the different types of demon, different types of angels, different aspects of both of those that I had to do a lot of research about. I don't call this book historical fiction by any means. It's just the influence. You'll see that there's some real life true fact history in it, and the other is myth or made up stories and my imagination. So those are the two main history and researches that happened. As far as the characters go, next question. Do you have a personal connection with Evie, and if so, what is it? I think that there are some ways I can connect to Evie, and those ways are the whole trying to identify yourself. I remember being a teenager and trying to figure out who I was, what my identity was going to be, what I wanted to have happen in my life, and so I could connect with her that way. Other ways, I feel like we all have demons, and the struggle that she goes through as a character I can relate with. I also feel like I can make a connection with Evie because she feels like so many people are trying to influence who she is, what she does, and although they have good intentions, it's something that she has to do on her own, and that's kind of a discovery that I've made for myself too. Next question, are Caden and Evan influenced by any men in your life? I had to laugh when I saw this question. I wish there were men as amazing as the types of men you read about in fictional literature, but I think if we're being realistic, they're not all that great. I think that you always make them out better than what they are. But no, there's no ex-boyfriend or boy that I specifically wrote it after. Would I love a tall, dark, and handsome man to walk into my life and sweep me off my feet? Absolutely. But as far as character traits of both Caden and Evan, I think that, you know, I've dated a lot of guys who have a great personality or a great sense of humor or are complete jerks that you just want to hate but love at the same time. But yeah, not any one specific person to either of those. All right, moving on to the next question. What are your demons? Someone asked me. I think I already mentioned one, video games. Probably played way too many video games in my life. When I was younger, my father would ground me from video games and books. So that tells you how much I love both of those. Next one is sweets. I have to run and work out a lot so that I can eat sweets. I always have to tell myself no to sweets. And so that's my second demon. And then my third one I can think of is stress. I stress a lot. I do not handle stress well at all. My career is unavoidable stress. You have to deal with crazy kids, crazy parents. That's a whole other story completely. But yeah, managing my stress, still working on doing that in a good, healthy way. Hopefully a demon I can get rid of eventually. Next question, have you written any other books? Yes, absolutely. I have between 15 and 20 other books written. I started writing when I was 12, I think. So I've transferred now from floppy disk to flash drive, so at least they're all written up. I am just in the process of getting them out there. So the next two books I'm focusing on are the next two in the trilogy. The second book will be focused mostly on the demons, and then the third one will be Evie's big decision that she has to make. And so that kind of goes along with the next question. When will book 2 be available for the trilogy? For right now, until the middle-ish of summer, my focus is just mostly marketing and getting the first book kind of out there. But I'll be writing and working on the second one and hopefully have it out by the end of the summer. And that's something that's nice to have as a teacher. You have, you know, part of your summer at least when you're not taking their classes and coaching and whatnot to be able to write. So that's what I do with my free time. And I think those are all of the questions that I have to answer for you. So, to get the book, again, it is called Seraphynx. And for right now, this weekend, it is free on www.amazon.com/dpb00 AYPJSWK. It's kind of hard to read backwards, sorry kids. So after today, it'll be available on Nook and Barnes & Noble and all the different other websites that you can get the book on. And once it gets into print, I will let you know. I'm currently looking for an agent to represent the book or any publishers that are interested. So if you viewers know of anyone, please let me know. You can learn more about me and the book or contact me at badrebel.wordpress.com. It's my blog and it has more information about the book. And then you can also directly email me through badrebelblogger@gmail.com. So, thank you for watching the video. I hope that you have either started reading the book or read it, or that you will get it and that you will love it, and that you will read the rest of the trilogy as well. Thanks.